this over the lunch hour, but it was the only time that Gary and I could get together to do this. Both he and I have worked on elections issues during our time in the legislature. Both of us as sponsors of various proposals, and Gary, and both of us in the past as chair of state and local government and veterans affairs, which deals with elections issues, although we've both moved on to other committees. The issue of reapportionment and redistricting has been one that's been around, spans the decades. We've had two ballot issues, 1981 and I think 2005 was when the Ron amendments were on the ballot.
Issues 1 through 5.
We know that there are a lot of discussions always ongoing that include people in government and out of government, that there's a recognition that there's a problem with the way that our districts are being drawn, but there are different approaches to fixing that problem, and I think there may even be some differences in philosophy between Gary and I on some of this, but what we've identified and come together on is that we do need to inject some fairness into the apportionment process, and so we've introduced today jointly Senate Joint Resolution 4, which will formally be introduced during the non-voting session today. That does not replace our apportionment board process, but rather enhances it by giving more power to the people. It expands the membership of the apportionment board from the current 5 members to 7 members, designating the Speaker of the House and the Minority Leader and the Senate President and the Minority Leader as legislative members, in addition to the 3 constitutional offices that are currently members of the board. It requires a vote of 5 to approve the legislative districts.
5 and 7.
Which means that if one party wins all 3 constitutional offices, you're not looking at much of a change in process, winner take all. But if the voters split those constitutional offices between the parties, then it forces a compromise solution, a bipartisan solution to districts, which we believe will be more fair, that will create the competitive, compact nature of districts that so many have been seeking in many different ways. Off the top, let me just say, I personally, speaking for myself, do not believe that the political process of apportionment is bad. I don't think the word political process is a bad term or a term of derision. Remember that that process is created by and executed by the people through their elected representatives. I've always been troubled by discussions of moving this process into the hands of unelected bureaucrats. And if anything, we need to look for ways to enhance the power of the people and the voice of the people in this process. The way we've set it up, if the people of Ohio choose virtually one-party government by giving one party all 3 of the constitutional offices, then the voters have spoken. And that party is in the driver's seat to have an impact on the way these districts are drawn. But if the voters choose to divide those offices, we think that the process and the decisions that are made in redistricting should reflect the will of the people as well. Currently, it doesn't. And if you do have a split in constitutional offices, that does not mean that that will of the people as expressed through those statewide elections is reflected in this process. So I think that's a major improvement in what we're proposing here.